March 1849, Stone Creek, Johnston County, North Carolina. 2,000 acres of cotton roll white to the horizon along the Sampson County line. Slave quarters steam in spring heat as Mary, Polly, Williams, Snead, 45, goes into labor with her 13th child. Something goes wrong. Mother and baby die together. 5 years later, widower Robert William Snead follows her to her grave, his will dividing 45 enslaved people across 12 orphaned children, ages 4 to 25. Oldest brother Thomas takes charge, balancing Smithfield law practice, county senate seat, militia quartermaster duties, before younger brothers hear war calling. And on this plantation, slavery isn't abstract. It's not a theory that you see in a textbook. It's Harriet, it's Isaac, the children whose labor built Stone Creek's wealth, whose futures now hang on the brothers' choices as cannons boom in the distance. Thomas D. Snead Sr., 17 when orphaned, inherits responsibility for the family's enslaved workers whose births fill family Bibles alongside of white Snead babies, brothers Edward Dudley, Nathan Williams, Charles Henry, and Walter Robert chase bigger destinies. Edward studies medicine. Nathan farms 615 acres, deeds his portion of the enslaved to Aunt Susan before marching off. Charles raises partisan rangers. Walter, just 17, he begs to enlist. The enslaved watch closely. Nathan's overseer reports, quote, insolence from field hands as war news spreads. In Smithfield, 12 miles away, 87-year-old Cornelia Andrews remembered the era. She tells much later on in her older days that she was whipped for breaking dishes and being slow. Mr. Blunt King, a patroller, would put a whipping on you. Yeah. Late war desperation, overseers whipped harder as Confederate food began to run out. Stone Creek hands demand wages. Slave grapevine begins to buzz. Lincoln, Charleston's falling. Freedom's coming. In April of 1861, Fort Sumter fell. Johnston County answers first. Edward commissions as captain, resigns for Confederate service. Nathan joined the 20th North Carolina Infantry. Charles gets his War Department authority to raise a group of guerrilla fighters. Walter follows at 17. Letters home reveal slavery is beginning to crack. Edward treats, quote, malingering bondsmen pressed into hospital labor. Charles reports runaways joining Union guerrilla fighters in the Dismal Swamp. Nathan writes of unrest at Stone Creek. And the overseers whip harder as the hands slow their work. September 17, 1862, Battle of Antietam. Nathan Williams Snead, 21, vanishes in Bloody Lane. Edward searches disfigured bodies as the 13th North Carolina Assistant Surgeon, but never finds him. Years later, he keeps Nathan's portrait turned to the wall. Back home, Nathan's enslaved population, here he's gone. Overseers begin to tighten patrols as Four Oaks matriarch Margaret Thornton, who was interviewed at 77 in the 1900s, remembered, at the surrender, most of the people left. Most of the enslaved people left, but me and my family stayed for wages. We never really had as good as we did before the war. That was Margaret Thornton. Same Stone Creek hands stay for pay. Others, they wait for Sherman. March 1865, Sherman marches through Johnston County. Stone Creek, once feeding four brothers war, becomes campfire food. Family Bibles note that Harriet and the children have gone to freedom, 1863. Slave quarters emptied completely. Enslaved people followed the bluecoats north, carrying Stone Creek babies, tools, memories that Margaret Thornton of Four Oaks described. Thomas procures supplies as quartermaster, while Freedom rewrites his ledgers. Now, these four Stone Creek brothers were the Sneads. Again, Edward Dudley, Nathan Williams, Charles Henry, and Walter Robert. Sons of Robert and Polly Snead, orphans managing 45 enslaved souls whose Bible births matched their own. Edward later practiced medicine in Hope Mills, treated freedmen post-war. Charles survived guerrillas, prison duty, saw Harriet run away. Walter lived to old age. Nathan died at Antietam, we suppose. Thomas watched Cornelia Andrews whipped. Margaret Thornton negotiate wages. Stones Creek people claiming freedom that he'd never imagined granted. Their letters capture slavery's unraveling. Insolent hands, Dismal Swamp runaways, Harriet's flight, Cornelia's whip scars, Margaret's post-war wages. Johnston voices echo Stone Creek's transformation from cotton empire to empty quarters. Now, let's say that no Snead brothers ever enlisted. Well, if that's the case, then Johnston lost 4 officers. Stone Creek's 45 enslaved people stayed bound through 1865. Harriet doesn't go to freedom. There's no Harriet Gone to Freedom Bible entry. No Cornelia Andrews whip scars documented. No one's ever going to hear from her. Sherman burns different farms. Margaret Thornton never negotiates wages. This was a civil war at home. Not in textbooks. This is what happened here. Besides Bentonville. The Civil War's intimate ledger, planters losing their fortunes, enslaved winning freedom, plays out elsewhere, if they're never born. Now, our textbooks glorify Lee, Jackson, Grant. The Stone Creek brothers, who to some people were seen as heroes, if not treated as such. Cornelia Andrews and Margaret Thornton are seen as heroes to other people on the exact opposite side of the fence, and their lives all intertwined together before the war. This is what really happened here. The Civil War that we had completely rendered places like Johnston County into at least 2 factions. And as has been said before on previous episodes, and as Rhett Butler said in Gone with the Wind, it was a war of waste. Pride, your mouth getting ahead of your brain, and lasting consequences. And this is Joko Yo. Go have a good day.